Welcome back to another episode of S.O.S. Discussions. I am Darian, the mouth of the South Gray, and I'm here with a couple of my hosts, and I appreciate y'all. We're going to talk about the AFC West to continue our division series. And we're going to start off talking about the Denver Broncos. They have a heated quarterback competition going on between Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. I'm going to start off with Jamar. Who's winning this one?
I definitely think it's Teddy Bridgewater. I think Drew Lock has had his time to prove what he can do. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater has proven, especially with the Saints, your Saints, that he's a decent quarterback. He can do what he needs to do. He's not going to take you to a Super Bowl. He's good enough. I definitely think the receivers, especially Jerry Jeudy, we definitely haven't really seen their potential because Drew Lock has been the quarterback or Drew Lock is hurt. So I think it's definitely going to be Teddy Bridgewater. Wouldn't be surprised to still see Drew Lock if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't perform well, but I still think coming out of this year it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater because at least we're going to give him a chance. We traded for him. Let's let Teddy Bridgewater give us a chance. We've already given Drew Lock a chance.
So I like Teddy Bridgewater for this starting role. However, I can possibly understand why they want to keep Drew Lock should they decide to go that way. Just comparing and kind of contrasting both of them, we know Teddy has the experience. He has the leadership skills. He's a game manager. He has accuracy on his side when comparing the two. He has a higher quarterback IQ, I would think. With Drew Lock, he has more arm strength. He has that athletic ability to kind of improvise when he needs to. And I think with Teddy, you kind of worry about him getting hurt. Drew also has 1 year experience under Schumer. And so with that, you also have the side of him being able to win over the locker room in that situation where they're kind of more comfortable, playing with Drew Lock. And so I think I can understand seeing it go either way, but I would go with Teddy. In that sense, I think his experience itself speaks for itself in that regard. And so, yeah, I would go with Teddy, but I would understand if they choose to kind of stick with Drew Lock.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of Teddy Two Gloves, as we called him back in New Orleans. But I think that he's a much safer quarterback. I think you know what you're going to get out of him. So there's not so much variance. This is Teddy Bridgewater, while Drew Lock, you're hoping that he can ascend to this level. So higher floor, Teddy. Higher ceiling, Drew. And that's really how I view this quarterback competition. So let's move into the next team. And there's no quarterback competition here. We all know that Justin Herbert is the man in Los Angeles. So that's not what we're talking about. After a great rookie year and a bunch of close losses within that year, are the Los Angeles Chargers ready to be a playoff team? I'm going to start off with Jamar again.
I definitely think it's going to be interesting. We're definitely going to see even a better offense. We saw Justin Herbert in his first year. And now he obviously already has these weapons. You got Austin Eckler, you got Keenan Allen, and some other guys, Mike Williams. I definitely think, obviously, I don't think they can win the division, but I think they could sneak in the wild card possibly. We will see. But I definitely think they can win some games and some shootouts. They have probably a top 7 offense in the league, so I wouldn't be surprised. They have a great quarterback who I think a lot of us counted out, be it the other quarterbacks in his draft class. So we'll see, but I like this offense this year.
Definitely. What you think?
Yeah. I think they're definitely probably a shoe-in for a wild card spot. I think they can make the playoffs. I honestly got them going away with 11 wins this season, at least 11 wins this season. Looking at the schedule, it's possible.
Okay.
We look at just how Justin Herbert balled out last season, over 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns. He's got the weapons that he can use. And they've continued to add to their defense. So I think the Chargers are going to be better off than they were last season, pending injuries, of course. That's with anybody, though. I think they'll be better off, and I don't think they're a team that you want to sleep on this season.
No, definitely not. I'm going to say they are ready to be a playoff team, but I am not going to go to the lengths that Miss Vita came out and said they are.
We got an extra game this year, though. We got an extra game.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
I believe that they are one of 3 teams that are really fighting for that 7th spot in that 3rd wild card. Is between them. In my opinion, the Colts, 5 to 12 weeks is a long time. I don't know what that's going to look like. But it's between them, the Colts, and the Steelers because I'm not quite ready to count them out. But their offensive line does not really satisfy me. But those 3 teams I'm looking at, I think that you got the Ravens, Dolphins, and your 4 divisional winners. I think those are going to be your top 6. However, that 7th spot is going to be tight. So let's move into the next team, the Las Vegas Raiders. And a lot has been made. We know that John Gruden has a long contract, so it's going to be hard to get rid of him. However, it might be put up or shut up time for Mike Mayock and Derek Carr. So is it that? Is it a make or break year for those two guys?
I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of the Raiders. I've never been a fan of the coach there. I feel like it's always been idiot moves after idiot moves. We look at their receiver with Ruggs instead of Judy and CeeDee Lamb. I've just looked at it as a bunch of questionable calls. I think the quarterback has a lot of potential, and he's shown to be that at times, but I just don't know if that's the case. I don't think this team is going to do anything this year. I think it's a team that this is their last chance. If they don't do something, it is over, and I personally do think it will be over this year, and something big is going to happen.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off of what Jamar said, they've done a lot of questionable things. I don't think Derek Carr should take the brunt of the blame for that because his stats show that he's not a bad quarterback. We just have to look at what he's had to work with. And when you shake the team up the way that the Raiders have, they brought in John Gruden, which that's fine, but you moved around some key pieces to keep things together, to keep some type of cohesion. You remove those things, and so now it does look like everything falls on Derek Carr, and that's just not the case. And so I can understand how the business side of this works. You look at how long Derek Carr has been there and nothing's came of it. So if they can choose to move on, I can see that being the reason why. But I don't think he's to take a lot of the blame here. I think we have to look at management and the things that they've put together in that regard.
Yeah, I think it might be a make or break year for Carr. I'm not so sure about Mayock. You know, I think that him and Mayock and Gruden are kind of, they're together in their thought process. While it has seemed that Carr and Gruden at times have been far apart. So while there have been some questionable decisions, I think that Mayock will stay at least past this year, while this could be Carr's last season. However, in my opinion, I think they're set up for success and both of those guys will be back. So let's get to the last team, the king of the West, the best in the West, as my boy J. Cole would say. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. There ain't no question about that. So I want to ask, is this the year that they get dethroned, not just in the division, because I know you guys don't think that, but in the AFC? 2-year AFC champions back-to-back. Is this the year that they get dethroned? If so, by who?
I definitely think it's a possibility. I still have them as my pick. If I'm betting money, I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs. I think everybody is. But I still think Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens have a chance of doing it. Not everybody's a fan of them. Got a couple receivers after just Marquise Brown. They got a couple receivers they picked up in the draft. And I think it was Sammy Watkins too. I'm interested to see, especially J.K. Dobbins actually being the starting running back. I felt like that should have been done around week 3 last year. So we'll see. I'm definitely interested to see the Ravens do it. I think Lamar Jackson got a little bit on his shoulder to do something this year, but I definitely think if I had to put money, it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
What you thinking, Mia? Let's get spicy. Is this the year they get dethroned?
So, I mean, no question about it, they win the division. But when we're talking AFC as a whole, I think anything is possible. Anything is possible in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people didn't see the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl last year, but things happen, you know? So with that in mind, we look at how the Bills have built themselves up to a new level. And I think the next step for the Bills is to become a contender. As long as they don't regress, they shouldn't be comfortable with staying stagnant. And so that's the next step for the Bills. And so I think we have to pay some attention over there. There's a few other teams that, you can pay attention to, but I don't necessarily know that they're in a position to dethrone the Chiefs right now. Maybe next year, maybe a few years from now, but I don't see it right now.
Man, y'all so safe, man. Anything's possible. I don't know if I had to put my money. I'm going to tell you right now, they're getting dethroned this year, and they're getting dethroned by the Cleveland Browns. And I know that's
yeah, you're smoking for that one.
That's all right. That's all right. If I'm smoking, I'm feeling good because I'm feeling good about my prediction right now. But look, I understand that the Cleveland Browns aren't a lot of people look at and say that's going to be the team that knocks off the Chiefs. I think a lot of people look at them as they might be the favorite. However, I think it's time. I think that the Browns, let's just get to quarterback position. I said it in pre-production. You guys kind of looked at me crazy. I have the same amount of confidence in Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen to do what they did last year. I believe that Josh Allen is an ascending quarterback, and I think he's going to continue to get better and play at an MVP level. I think that Baker Mayfield is understanding his role and understands that he does not have to be that. They don't have to be equal players, but that's what he did. He knows that he can turn around, hand off the Chubb, hand off the Hunt, do play action. And I think the deciding factor is going to be this. And if this happens, I'm going to feel good going halfway through the season about my pick. And that's if Baker Mayfield can understand how to deal with a receiver, the quality of Odell Beckham, and understand that you have to throw to him when he's open, not when you have to. And I think that the success that they had after Odell got hurt, I think Baker is ready to take that step up mentally, not just physically, but mentally, and understand that I have to do what's best for the team, not just what's best for Odell or feel the pressure from Odell. He does that. That takes this offense to another dynamic level, and they've already added the defense. And I ain't gonna talk y'all ear off, because just know that they have. I've done it before. I love their draft. I think it's time for the Cleveland Browns to step up and be the best in the AFC. We're gonna give the Kansas City Chiefs the best in the West. We've already discussed that, but it's time for them Browns. And Jamar, I see your face. We're gonna move on about that though. So until the next episode, y'all tell me what you think. Am I wilding? Am I tripping for saying the Browns are ready to take that step? Do you agree with Jamar's facial expressions? Do you think it's time for the AFC to have a new king? Or what do you think about the AFC West? Let us know in the comments below. And we ain't just accurate, we spot on, especially me. All right, y'all. Last one. That was about 10 minutes.
All right, that's perfect. So let's just do
Jamar's looking like, nah, this nigga tripping.
Nah, you ain't like, they ain't out of this world, but I don't see it happening.
Nah, I feel you, bro.
Like, I'm kind of like done with Odell, done with what's it?
All right, y'all ready?
Yeah, it's Westbrook, right? Let's go.
Yes, sir. I'm just trying to bring some flavor in this thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, you good.
Let's go. Welcome back. Oh, sorry. You good? Welcome back to another episode of S.O.S. Discussions. And we're coming off of the NBA draft, but a blockbuster trade that I'm not sure everybody expected happened during the draft. And that was Russell Westbrook getting traded to the LA Lakers to go out there with LeBron and AD. I'm just going to start it off like this. What do you guys feel? Positive, negative, love it, hate it? What are you guys thinking about the trade? I'm going to start with Mia.
I can't wait to see how this pans out. I think Russell Westbrook is a great basketball player. He's a ball dominant player, and I don't know how that fits in with LeBron and AD. I don't know how that forces their offense to go, and if chemistry can form there in that sense. When you look at them going from Rajon Rondo and even Alex Caruso, who are more floor facilitators, Russell Westbrook is looking to score. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're in the right offense for that. And so I don't know just how that's going to come together. I'm hoping it works for him. May the best happen for him, but it's going to be interesting to see just how they can put that together and make that work.
Regardless of what you think about this situation, at the end of the day, LeBron James is getting older, and somebody needs to do the things that LeBron James does when LeBron James is on the court. Russell Westbrook is going to allow LeBron James to rest. He's going to allow him not to have to do everything on the court. I feel as though when you look at the Lakers, other than AD, LeBron was spoon feeding every single player on the court. That's including Caldwell Pope, Kuzma, all the guys that are gone. He was spoon feeding them. At the end of the day, LeBron James and AD can be out, and they can still win a game with Russell Westbrook on the court because he's going to give you 110% every single game. So first thing when I look at the Russell Westbrook trade, it's at the very least, you know what I mean? In the regular season, they're going to be good because they're going to have bodies that are willing to do what they need to do and don't need LeBron to spoon feed them. My question is, how is this going to work in crunch time or in the playoffs? Is Russell Westbrook going to be able to be number 3? Is he going to be able to let LeBron do him? Are we going to see LeBron and Russell Westbrook fighting for a triple-double? Are we going to see Russell Westbrook getting frustrated? These are questions, and they are real. I hope that Russell Westbrook understands that his title pursuit is probably only here in the LA uniform. This is probably it. He got lucky he's even here. He was with the Washington Wizards. I'm pretty sure he understands the circumstances. So I think we're going to see a different Russell Westbrook. I think Russell Westbrook is a great player, and he showed what he did with the Washington Wizards with literally nobody other than Bradley Beal. So I think we're going to see a different Westbrook. I'm hoping we see a different Russell Westbrook. But at the end of the day, you got 3 great players. I think this could be something special, or it could be, something similar to when the Cavs gave up Kyrie and got IT, and then they traded IT within like a month. You know what I'm saying? It could happen. So I'm interested to see what happens, but I'm hoping.
I want to respond.
I'm sorry, Darius.
No, go ahead, Mia.
It's something that can definitely work. I think we all had our reservations about Brooklyn when they got Kyrie and Harden, like they're both ball dominant. Who's going to be able to do what? Who's going to be able to take a back seat? And it seemed to work. Their issue was health. And so in a similar situation to this, it could really work. It's can they stay healthy? And kind of what Jamar said, it allows LeBron to allow other people to step up to the plate. He wasn't getting that production out of Kyle Kuzma, out of KCP. And so with Russell Westbrook, you kind of do get some of that production.
Yeah, definitely. I want to respond to a couple of things. First off, when you look at NBA teams, everybody sees the Larry O'Brien trophy at the beginning of the season. They see it, but some teams see it a lot closer. Some teams are far back, some teams are right there. And I think when you have something right here in front of you, your vision changes a little bit, and maybe the way you look at the game can change. And I think that you see a player like Harden coming over to Brooklyn, where we're like, I don't know how that's going to work. But when you realize a championship is within arm's reach, now you start changing. You understand I have to do what's best to get that ring. I've never had it. I've been there one time, but I've never got it. And then to the point of them fitting, I think that Jamar brought up, honestly, the best point I've heard from anybody when talking about why they would fit. And that's just about LeBron being off the floor. Now, this is my problem when they're all on the floor, because we're not even talking about Anthony Davis. It's not about who have the ball for me. My biggest concern is how are you going to deploy spacing? Like, how are you going to deploy on the court? Because Anthony Davis don't like to bang, but he's best when he's down there banging. LeBron's going to move in. Who's going to be out there? You got Carmelo out there. We know that he's going to post up in the corner, even if he's going to, back you down into the paint. He's going to start off in the corner. And if you have Dwight Howard on there, who's spacing the floor? It's going to be very congested. And I understand that LeBron is a great mind in addition to being a great athlete and a great player. And I know that he probably has some sort of thought process in. And I want to ask you guys something. If spacing is an issue, who would you guys have liked to see him go get, or the Lakers go get, that wasn't Russell Westbrook?
Well, that's easy. I think it's Damian Lillard. You would rather them get than Russell Westbrook.
Let's be realistic. It doesn't seem like he's we're being realistic. Guys who really moved around this offseason that you would have wanted to get.
I think Buddy Hield would have been nice, but not as much of a price. But I still feel as though like Buddy Hield, while he can get his own bucket a little bit, it still is not as much of a bucket getter or somebody who can run an offense as Russell Westbrook. So, I mean, I think Russell Westbrook is just what you got to do. DeMar DeRozan was also an option. He can't shoot the three either. And to your point with the spacing, it kind of reminds me of Ben Simmons in the playoffs. Not to that degree, but in terms of spacing for the Philadelphia 76ers, it would be times where it's like, well, what do you do with that power forward / point guard that can't shoot? And he's not bringing the ball up anymore. So he's just kind of standing in that mid-range area in the corner and just a waste of space. And then they're just double teaming and helping when it's not costing them anything. So it's definitely going to be interesting. We're probably going to see a lot of cuts from Westbrook, be it what they do. But if Dwight Howard's also on the court, I don't know. And then that means, is AD going to be playing the 5 like he doesn't like playing the 5? So it's going to be interesting. I mean, like we've seen it. Like we've seen Drummond. We've seen all these guys that were like, oh, they're coming to the Lakers and they're now in the court in the fourth quarter. That's a possibility that we see maybe, LeBron and AD in the court, no Westbrook in the fourth quarter. That's possible.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how they mix that up. Honestly, I hadn't moved on from the Lakers getting rid of Rajon Rondo. I just felt like that situation worked, and they probably should have tried to bring that back. That's why I was there with it. Buddy Hield would have also been a nice option. I'm pretty sure everybody wanted to see Dame in a Lakers jersey, but realistically, that wasn't happening. But yeah, I think Rondo was the perfect fit for that position with the Lakers.
Yeah, I think he would have been phenomenal, a floor general, a guy who can facilitate. Not saying he has to be the guy who goes get his own bucket, but he can definitely facilitate and be a great playmaker for that offense when LeBron's not on there. Yes, Jamar.
Well, it's nice, but the main concern of this year was there's nobody to literally run the offense, not just run the offense, but get their own bucket on the Lakers. Rajon Rondo is nice, but at the end of the day, LeBron, he's not. So I think you had to get a Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, and Damian Lillard this year because it's just like, especially if AD is so wishy-washy with being healthy, you need somebody, especially in the regular season, that's just gonna be able to get a bucket, go for 40 tonight. I'm trying to chill tonight. Rajon Rondo run that. I think he was nice, but also we're seeing, you got to realize the Lakers aren't just trying to get the best team they can be. They're trying to get the best team to go against these other teams. When you're looking at the Nets on the other side, it's like, yo, they got 3 dudes. KD basically could have took that team to the finals without Kyrie. See what I'm saying? What are the Lakers prepared to do going against these other teams?
I said a name that I would have liked to see them explore a little bit more, and that's Kyle Lowry. I really would have liked to see him out there. I think he shoots a little bit better than Russ needed. I think he would have spaced the floor a little bit better and maybe been a better schematic fit. But let us know what you guys think. Are you guys a fan of the Russell Westbrook trade? If not, who would you have liked to see the Lakers bring in? Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield? Do they need a superstar? All questions that we have, and we would love to know what you guys think. Where we ain't just accurate. Spot on.